You are now tuned in to Go Time Dolphins with Charlie Touche and Kadeem Simmons, the Miami Dolphins podcast that's for the fans and by the fans.
Gotta make them lose their mind when it's your time. And it's show time. Going all out when it's go time. I ain't wasting no time. Gotta make them lose their mind when it's show time. Cause it's your time. Lay it on the line when it's go time. Don't waste no time.
Fin fans, ignore the noise in the background. Dolphin fans, Go Time Dolphin fans, welcome to our Philadelphia Eagles review episode.
Hold on. It's Go Time Dolphins, the Miami Dolphins podcast that goes not only across the pond, but across the world. I'm your boy, Charlie Touche. I got my co-host, Kadeem Simmons, with me, and it's always for the fans and by the fans. Your favorite podcast. And this episode would not be right if we didn't start it off the right way. You know what I'm saying? The Miami Dolphins have taken an L to the Eagles, but Go Time Dolphins are celebrating a W with the birthday of Coach K, a.k.a. LL Cool K, a.k.a. your favorite co-host, Kadeem Simmons. Happy birthday, bro.
So many people are saying happy birthday, and I'm like, difficult to be birthday when you wake up and see that the Miami Dolphins took an L. But listen, managed to make it another orbit around the sun, a year older, a year wiser, and so the Dolphins didn't win, but I get to celebrate the day with my loved ones. I was going to say my beautiful wife, but she called me old, so that ain't going to happen. All the Dolphin fans, all the Finn fans. So shout out to everyone in the comments. Voice of the podcast, Jay Simmons says happy birthday, big head. Tim Carroll says thank you for having us. Happy birthday, Cads. Keith says good evening, gents. Like in the earlier UK time, I'm actually awake. Shout out to Ryan AP, says Finn's up. And I think it's the first time he's commented, so shout out to Ryan AP. Rob says happy birthday, Kadeem. Keith says happy birthday, Kay. Shaq says happy birthday. Hannah Montana says happy birthday, calls me old. And then Shaq says enjoy that Miami result. And yeah, people have just been going, hope it hurts. It's like, haha, very, very funny. And yeah, it wasn't what I had hoped for. And there's an element of, could this loss have been avoided if certain things went our way? What did you make of the game?
So let's talk through it. Miami Dolphins lose to the Philadelphia Eagles, and I can't even remember the score. I think it was 31-17. Yeah, man. Listen, the score is not indicative of how the game went. It was actually a pretty good game. They got out on us early. I didn't panic. We got the ball back at halftime, so I'm like, yo, we could get this. If we could get this touchdown before and then come back and get the ball at the half, it's going to be a new game. You know what I'm saying? Even put money on the live line because I was like, yo, it's plus 500 right now. We're going to come back. We're going to cover. You know what I'm saying? So it didn't happen, though. There's some off the bat, Kadeem. The Miami Dolphins get a penalty for a delay of game on the first snap of offense. How is that even possible? I don't know how you get a penalty on the first snap of offense at the beginning of the game, or coming out of a timeout. I don't know how that is possible. So again, it's almost like when you're correcting some things that you have to correct, I got to get this right, and I know I have to work on this, I have to work on that. It sometimes it pops back up like, oh yeah, this was what I used to struggle with before, and then it popped back up on us. And post game, Tua has some things to say, and so did Coach McDaniel. But we'll get into that. Go ahead.
Yeah. Shout out to Stephen Land again. I believe first time messenger says, "Hey, great job with the stream. Just wanted to join in. You're always welcome. Feel free to comment as much as possible." Says happy birthday. Nice jersey. What player is it? Love the vintage ones. This is Jason Taylor, 99. Vintage. And Sup IMAX, thanks for that birthday message. Um, yeah, like you said, we was in it until late, and a one-score game with the opportunity to tie, then turned to an interception. Eagles kind of put the game to bed. Um, I've been calling for this defense to step up, make interceptions. Jerome Baker gets a pick six. Excellent, great. It's it's difficult to kind of take too many more victories out of the game. Yes, we can sit here and say that the injuries, the penalties, all that kind of stuff. At the same time, you kind of just want to go. Sometimes you have to find a way to win. Shout out to Josh Casca from the Same Old Dolphin Show. He tweeted, let me find it very, very quickly. I should have saved this earlier. And now I can't.
While Kadeem is looking for it, and he said, "Shout out to Josh Casker." We're trying to get them boys back on the show. And once we switched up the time to record earlier, for our UK listeners, it's more convenient. However, we're probably going to go every month, switch it up. So we're going to work out a time to get these boys back on the podcast. This month we're going a little bit earlier. Next month we'll go back to the time that we used to record at previously, and then we're going to alternate every month, and then probably get we'll need everybody staying up till 1 o'clock in the morning try to catch the podcast.
So I can't find the tweet. So apologies if it wasn't Josh, but basically the tweet was basically was we good enough? Look, what were the excuses? Yes. Were we good enough? No. Eventually, you kind of have to get the win, and I think it's difficult when some of the penalties were so backbreaking. I think someone was like 3 of the penalties had like a 20-point swing. There was a phantom, or this person was saying there's a phantom hold on Lester Cotton, which brings the touchdown back to Jalen Waddle. The interception from Darius Slay in the fourth quarter, you could call defensive pass interference on Raheem Mostert. There's I think Jalen Carter flops when he gets touched. There's a whole bunch of things. And I don't want to sit here and be like, it's excuses, the injuries, excuses. It's not to win the Super Bowl, you need a bit of luck. And sometimes things aren't going to go your way. You just kind of find a way to get out of it. And I think the Dolphins, looking at a positive thing, should be like, we were close to beating the Eagles on the road in prime time with so many key players missing, players going out during the game. Meet them against Super Bowl, we get that win. I think it's such a massive talking point. What did you make of the referee calls against us and nothing against Philadelphia?
So there's a stat that's out there where whoever wins the turnover ratio wins the game 80% of the time, maybe 85% of the time. So there's also, I think, analytics that support penalties, and I can't remember off the top of my head what it is, but I wasn't going to talk about penalties at all on this episode. Yeah, the Dolphins had 10 penalties, and the Eagles didn't get called for any. Like the Eagles had 0 penalties. Not they didn't commit 0 penalties. They didn't have 0 penalties called on them. So I'm not going to address it because we lost. It is what it is. We lost. Does it sound right? Absolutely not. Of course not. But at the same time, it's a legitimate talking point that has to be discussed now. And I'll let you know what side I'm on when we get there. But how about this? I think the Giants are 2-5, Patriots are 2-5, Carolina's 0-6, Chargers are 2-4, I think.
We'll double check.
Yeah. I think the Chargers 2-4, and then you lost to Buffalo, they're 4-3, and you lost to the Eagles, they're 6-1. So the conversation is, and it's the national conversation: are the Dolphins contenders or pretenders? And that's all you're gonna hear until the Dolphins show up and beat someone with the winning record. My thing is, what happens if Buffalo loses another game? Y'all gonna say Buffalo wasn't a real game? You know what I'm saying? Like, just because teams don't like, I got a question for Kadeem that we got to get to later. But what happens if Buffalo loses another game and they're 4-4? You're gonna say, "Oh, the Dolphins." What about the Dolphins? Because we lost a Buffalo that's 4-4. You see what I'm saying? So yeah, when we were playing the Chargers, it was talked up. A voice of the podcast, Kadeem Simmons. Oh my bad, Jay Simmons.
Wow. He called you Kadeem.
No. Voice of the podcast. You know, I always say Kadeem Simmons. It rolls out the tongue easier. But Jay Simmons in the building. Shout out to Jay Simmons. Yeah, man. Like, bro, I think it's foolish. I think talking about penalties are foolish. I think talking about refs and injuries, and we didn't have our players. No one's gonna have their full roster. I think all of that's foolish. You got to win games. That is it. So, and I think talking about the records of teams that you beat is foolish. So, yeah, man, I'm not on that.
Did you just see that like bubble next pop next to your face?
I did 100%.
I don't know what that was. I have never seen that before.
I have no idea either.
Whatever you did, fair play. So Rob, shout out to Steven says, sweet, awesome, great find. Thank you for showing it off. You're more than welcome. Rob says, I think it's a valid talking point in terms of penalties. Eagles never had to give up field advantage on any drive where we had to. Tim says, Walkins, he shouldn't touch Hurts. Cotton held. Some I get, but holes and face mask, defensive pass interference on INT was so obvious. Still, we had a chance and didn't take it. Kenneth Rankin says, sup, fellas. Rob adds, there were times we were getting called for offsides, but their own line was full starting on the same play. Where was it offsetting? And then Kenneth says, happy birthday. Appreciate that. And I think I want to go back to what Rob said, where, no, was it Rob? Yeah, I believe it was Rob. No, I can't find it. Anyway, when I find a comment, basically with the comment where it said, also shout out to Woo back. So he says, sup lads, I believe first time commenter, so welcome. Hope
what up?
Welcome. Yeah, enjoy. Feel free to comment. Yeah, it's the fact that even though we had all these penalties against us, we had the ball with the opportunity to tie. And if you tie that game, you never know what happens. It's not like all these penalties meant we were down 40 and the game was done. Again, it's like all that adversity. Apologies, Woo back. He says, not first time, bro. Again, apologies. Thanks for the return. It's on me. Yeah, all those adversity, the injuries, the penalties, all that kind of stuff, and yet it was still a one-score game. To me, that shows this team have the ability, the drive, the determination to hang with the big boys. You spoke about the teams we've beaten and their losing records. If the Chargers beat us, they have a winning record. So what's that to say? Even the Patriots, it's like we beat the Patriots in week 2 when they were 0-1. What we meant to do, lose that game. And I think there's all this stuff about people talking about our record and we only beat the cupcake teams. The Bills just lost to the Patriots. The Bills lost to the Jags, and the Bills should have lost to the Giants. Like, to me, those they should have a worse record than they do now. So I just think it's not our fault that we're beating the teams that are put in front of us. Like, what we meant to do is say, hey, you guys have got a losing record here, take a win, because it doesn't mean anything. I know it's not go time Bengals, but the year the Bengals went to Super Bowl, they lost 7 games. Who did they lose to?
I don't know.
And I don't think anyone could tell you, but it doesn't matter because they went to the Super Bowl. If you get to the Super Bowl, no one cares who you lost to. It doesn't matter. Right now, the Dolphins' goal is to get to the Super Bowl or get to the playoffs. Once we get there, no one's going to go, oh, well, they got their only beaten. Listen, shut up. We did what we had to do, just like all the other teams who make the Super Bowl have to do. Like, it's just pointless. But we said before the game, not just us, but everyone on social media, if the Dolphins don't beat the Eagles, the narrative is going to be the Dolphins can't beat winning teams. And until we win or we beat winning teams consistently, this is going to be the conversation. The only way to stop that conversation is to beat the Bills, beat the Eagles. And when we done it last year, people still said, oh, well, but it doesn't matter. So it is what it is.
But this is my thing. It doesn't matter. You know what I'm saying? Like, if we won, it wouldn't have mattered. Like, oh, what's the narrative now? It would have changed somehow, some way. It would have been, oh, well, you got to win the playoff game. You got to go to the Super Bowl. It's always gonna move. So if it doesn't matter on that end, it shouldn't matter on this end when we lose to them. I don't care. You know what I'm saying? The end result is what matters in the playoffs when you get to the dance. So that's why I don't care when people say you only won by 1 point, 2 points. You're barely beating teams. I don't care. You're not beating teams with winning records. I don't care. What's another one that's always floating around? But again, here's another thing. Suddenly the game matters now, because if we won, it would that game didn't count. The game counts, remember? So before, if we beat the Eagles, it didn't count. So we're gonna go to Germany. If we beat the Chiefs, it's not gonna count. So it only counts if the Dolphins lose. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not worried about all the foolishness. You know what I'm saying? What I am worried about, though, is Coach McDaniel getting plays in on time and not having his own type of glitch mode when it comes to calling plays. Not only that, the game is different if Tyreek Hill catches that ball and doesn't fumble it, or he didn't catch it. It was an incomplete pass, but it looked like a fumble. But you know what I'm saying? He really didn't catch it. It was an incomplete pass. You got to catch that ball. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of things look different. Lester Cotton got the holding call on him, and the touchdown had to come back. Bro, I was just looking. I'm like, bro, Tua is so nice, dog. You know what I'm saying? On that touchdown that got called back. And then another one is the Dolphins only scored 1 touchdown, bro.
Yeah.
That's unacceptable. 1 touchdown on offense. And when it happened, Kadeem, I was on the phone with LB. And when I seen it, I like, yo, that was the national championship play.
I've seen the clip.
I seen it, like, as soon as it happened, I said that was the national championship play. And then they came back from commercial and said, oh, does this play look familiar? I called it out in real time. And I told LB, I like, dang, I wonder if that was a sneak diss. You know what I'm saying? Like, yo, the Dolphins are going to win. Hey, Jalen Hurts, you remember this play? You know what I'm saying? Because Jalen Hurts was on the sideline during the national championship. So Dolphins be worried about trolling people too much, bro. We need W's and stop trolling people. You know what I'm saying? And we're good for that. Tua throwing touchdowns across his body to covered receivers instead of open receivers. You know what I'm saying? Like, bro, just get the W, get up out of there. You know what I'm saying? We don't got to troll people with national championship plays like, look what we just did, but we took an L. You know what I'm saying? So we got to get back to winning football. And I don't care who the team is. You got to beat the team. I don't care what their record is. You got to beat them, because it's going to be. Now, my question to you, Kadeem, Josh Allen still elite?
Yeah, why?
What you mean, why? Dog lost to Zach Wilson and Mac Jones.
Okay.
How does an elite quarterback lose to inferior quarterbacks?
You mean unless he played all 11 positions on defense?
Oh, so now he has to play all 11.
No. I'm not saying that. You asked, like, yes, the Bills did lose to the Patriots yesterday. But he, if I'm correct, I watched the game. He put himself and his team in winning position, and the Patriots drove down the field and won. Like, what's he meant to do?
The Josh Allen is 1-3 this season. No other season, just this season. 1-3 in 1 touchdown games. He doesn't do it, bro. He glitches. That's why when the Dolphins played the Bills, I was like, yo, all we got to do is keep it close. Josh Allen gonna do the rest. Shout out.
Hold on, like, again, that's fair, but he put his team ahead and the defense didn't get the stop, and the Patriots won. The Patriots drove down the field, threw the touchdown to go ahead, and then gave him like 12 seconds.
It means he didn't do enough. It means he didn't do enough.
What do you mean?
He didn't do enough. They lost. They lost. He didn't do enough.
We've had this conversation where we talk about the Dolphins. Would you rather go ahead and put the defense on the field? So he went ahead and put the defense on the field.
Yeah,
and they get out the touchdown. So if that happens to us, we would turn around and go, "Hey, Tua did what he had to do."
But he didn't do enough because they still lost. So either way,
so again,
dude didn't do enough.
But what's he meant to do? He put his team ahead.
He's meant to not be in that position against an inferior football team. They're not supposed to be in a position where they're in a one-score game against a team that's not supposed to be there. That's what I was talking about with the Dolphins. Like, you got to put these teams away, or else they're gonna find a way to win. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to Mike Gesicki, still playing for the Miami Dolphins because he still beat the Bills for us. Shout out to the gritty Gesicki making a comeback. You know what I'm saying? Like, I was so happy for my dog, bro.
That really gets even worse. Like the thing is, it's so quick. He's like, yeah, like all the different hand movements. He's like he's doing jiu-jitsu from like Naruto. It's like, dude, slow it down. Like, get the fundamentals right. Please get the fundamentals.
Don't get it right, bro. We need the gritty Gesicki. I don't want the other gritty, bro. I want the gritty Gesicki, bro.
Shout out to everyone in the comments. Kenneth Rankin says, X better be glad he didn't have to cover AB number 11. Ruback says, lost 2 touchdowns and missing 3 offensive line starters, will be back. Tim Carroll says, Raiders were 1-0 at Washington, 3-0 when Bills played them. So they say they beat plus 500 teams. Who cares? Apologies. Franklin Stubbs says, good afternoon. Fins up. Kenneth Rankin says, play a physical game against our wide receivers and get to 2. That's the blueprint to beating us. Rob says, losses in September and October mean F-all if you have a winning record. Thank for the birthday shout out, Robert. You're not late. You're here. That's what that matters. Ruback says, Tua, I thought had a solid game apart from the interception, considering missing left tackle, center, and left guard. Kenneth Rankin says, drop the link, bro. I'm not quite sure what link that is. Robert Ashton says, elite QB without a team around him is just a QB. Kenneth Rankin says, but you're tripping, get pressure on Tua, it's over. And then Ruback responds saying, like most QBs, you put pressure on them. I think one of the most disappointing things was that the run game was kind of like, where was it? And again, you're missing all these defensive linemen. You're missing Devon Achan, and of all weeks to not have your starting guys across the line and probably one of the best running backs in the league, the Eagles is not the week to do it because they are amazing in the trenches. And I don't know if people have seen this. A couple of weeks ago, Charlie, you said, what safety you can get with a 6th or 7th round pick? And we didn't say it on the podcast, and then after you was like, you could go and get
Oh yeah. All right. So this is what we're saying. There was a offensive player that became available, and then we didn't get him. He was traded for a 6th round pick. Who was the offensive player? It was fairly like 2 weeks ago. An offensive player got traded, and everybody was like, "Dang, the Dolphins couldn't trade a 6th round pick for that dude." It was a running back, wasn't it? Was it not a running back?
I will try and find out.
All right, it kind of matters right now because I really want to give it a context. There was an offensive player that got traded for pennies on the dollar or pennies on the pound, depending on what side of the pond you're on. And that offensive player, and some Dolphin fans on Twitter were like, "Yo, we could have used that offensive player." And then I was like, "Yo, if you could find a guard, a O lineman, or something like that for a 6th round pick, then yeah, we'd probably be in on it." Can't remember who it was right now, but all right. So I'll tell the story. Then I said, this is off air. I was like, "Yo, if the Dolphins had if there was a defensive player that we could use right now, that you know what I'm saying, we'll use a 6th or 7th round pick on, we would go do it." But then I thought about it. I was like, "Yo, we had the opportunity, and all right, no, it was Claypool."
No, wasn't it Randy Gregory?
No. It was Claypool. It was Claypool because everybody was like, "Yo, why we use a 6th round pick on? We could have used a 6th round pick somewhere else. Like we could have used a lineman or something." I'm like, "Yo, where you gonna find a lineman with a 2nd round grade that you could get a 6th round pick on?" So then we were talking about a defensive player with a 2nd round grade. It was actually a 1st round grade that you could use a 6th round pick on, and that person does exist, and that person is Isaiah Simmons. That's the name, right?
Yeah, it was. Yeah,
Isaiah Simmons from the Cardinals, and we didn't get him. And I'm like, wait a minute, you telling me that you could have had Isaiah Simmons as a rental for a 6 or 7 round pick and came in and helped the Dolphins immediately, and you didn't do it. And that's when I was like, yo, I don't like that, bro, because you could have used that 6th round pick for help today. And even if it was like, we're not going to resign them, but we're going to use them today. And I think Isaiah comes in right now and plays whatever position he wants on our team and starts, like whether it's linebacker or one of these hybrid DB positions. He could have came in and started for it. We would have loved him this week. So yeah, I do think we could have used that defensive player, but it's football, bro. Every team's going to be hurt.
Well, no, the reason I asked is because I don't know if you saw it, but the Eagles made a trade before we went on air.
Yeah, go ahead.
So the Eagles traded Kevin Byard from the Titans, and the Titans got safety Terrell Edmonds, a 5th and a 6th rounder, and that's what brings to mind. It was like, now Kevin Byard isn't in terms of age wise what he once was. He's now 30, I believe. But you telling me you couldn't find a way? And again, maybe he's happy with friend of the podcast, Von Holland. He is happy with him, Deshaun Elliott, all that kind of stuff. But I just think you add that kind of, I guess, playoff experience and elite level play for essentially next to nothing. I feel like it's something which should have been at the very least explored. However, it might have been explored. Maybe they wanted a different safety. Who knows? No, and Dolphins were like, no, we're gonna take what we have. Maybe the priority is everyone seems to want a nose tackle or the inside linebacker or whatever. But yeah.
But yeah, man. Every team, and this is why I don't get on it. Yeah, I think someone in the comments said, we had 3 O linemen out. It doesn't help when your backup left guard goes out and your 3rd string left guard comes in. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't help. I understand that. But every team is going through something. So we can't just say, oh, our team is going through this, this, and this. Yes, I get it that we don't have no starting corners. Like X is out and our other corner is out. Ramsey's out. And then Kohu's not playing in the slot no more. He's playing outside. So now all 3 cornerback positions across the board are in flux. So I understand that. But at the same time, every team is going to go through something. And I don't like it when it's our team, but I'm not going to use it as an excuse. Like, look, man, you got to catch the ball, Tyreek Hill. You know what I'm saying? Mike McDaniel, you got to get the plays in on time and not take a delay of game on the first snap of offense or burn a timeout when we need these timeouts because – and all right, let's talk about it now. Post game interviews with Tua and Mike McDaniel went like this. I know when Tua's lying now. You know how we had a suspicion that Tua was just taking the blame because he's the leader and he's the quarterback of the team. Oh no, that was my fault. I did this, and this. I put that on me. I gotta be better. Right. And we were like, I don't know, bro. Maybe Tua's just taking the blame for somebody. Oh, receiver runs the wrong route. He throws a pick. Yeah, man, that was a bad ball. It was on me. And it turns out someone ran around wrong route. Right. So I know when Tua's lying now, bro. I got you, dog. We go to the post-game conference or whatever you call it. I'm used to call it post-fight conference because of UFC. But we go to
post-game conference, yeah.
Post-game media, whatever you want to call it. And Tua comes up and says, there was a snap where Ahmed went past Tua and it was like a jet sweep that the timing was off and Tua just caught the snap and fell right away. Then there was, the delay of game, first offensive snap. Then there was a timeout that Tua had to call because the play didn't come in on time. And then there was the interception. All right. So Tua comes in on a post-game media and says, I just got to be better with the timing of everything and the plays, when they come in, it was nothing more than that. And that's on me. Right. And I'm learning whenever Tua says there's nothing more than that, there's more than that, bro. Like, right, there's more than that. Whenever Tua says there's nothing more than that, that means that there is more than that. Because Coach McDaniel came up and said, All right, that one was on me because I made a last second adjustment when the clock was running down and we couldn't adjust fast enough, and I can't put my quarterback or my offense in that position. So here goes coach taking accountability, but then you had his quarterback try to cover up for him, right? So, dog, we got to be better all across the board. And then even with the pick, I want to say Waddle ran the wrong route.
It's Waddle, yeah.
Put Slay in the vicinity, and that was not the first time. Mostert got bumped into Waddle's route earlier in the game and had multiple people in the area where it could have been really dangerous. Like, dang, Mostert got bumped off his route so much that there was like 5 people in the same area. So at the end of the day, the ball was still underthrown. However, if it is one-on-one like it was supposed to be, an underthrown ball probably becomes a PI, or it's just an incomplete pass and not an interception. But it is what it is, bro.
Yeah. Shout out to Rob. Just told us that David Long is cleared concussion protocol. Great to hear. You have a comment earlier. We'll probably get to it in bonus time because it is a big thing to talk about. You spoke about, and there's also another question about the defense. We'll get to that in a sec, Rob.
David Long clear concussion protocol because of the collision with the snowman. That was pretty bad collision. We're glad both of them are good. Friend of the podcast, Javon Holland collided with David Long on a crossing route, and it was bad, but they're both good.
Yeah.
Thank you.
There's a question 5-Yard Lee asked earlier. And he spoke about basically like some of the stuff he spoke about in terms of the Waddle running the wrong route, the miscommunication, all that kind of stuff. And he said, should we be worried or at least note that both times they have struggled are in loud road games? Do you think that's a concern, or do you think 2 games is too small a sample?
I'd just like to take a second to say Kadeem Simmons is rocking one of the hardest Dolphin hats I've ever seen, bro. That hat is so hard, bro. That thing go in right now, man.
It's from Orlando. It's a birthday present from Hannah Montana.
Happy birthday, Holmes. To answer the question, yeah, I am, because we were also in Buffalo for the playoffs when Coach wet the bed with the Hannah Montana. So yeah, we were also in Buffalo during the playoffs when Coach wet the bed with his play calling faux pas. You know what I'm saying? Or debacle. You know what I'm saying? So I do think it has something to do with communication and the fans and stuff. So yeah, it's bad, bro. We got to fix it. It got to get fixed. And I hate when quarterbacks just don't. Bro, shout out to Kirk Cousins, dog. If y'all haven't seen Quarterback on Netflix, the documentary of Kirk Cousins, Patrick Mahomes, and what's your boy, the running quarterback from Oregon, Marcus Mariota. My bad. I seen the face, but I couldn't get his name. So y'all gotta watch that documentary. Kirk Cousins is a dude. And my thing about quarterbacks, it's your huddle, bro. It's your offense, and you are an extension of the head coach. So if the head coach is wetting the bed, bro, don't wet the bed with him. Call your own play. You know what I'm saying? It's up to you. Russell Wilson does it all the time. Meaning wet the bed, like he fumbles, like, you know what I'm saying? Like a lot of these quarterbacks are too dependent of their head coach getting the play in all time. And I heard, and I don't know how true it is, but it is definitely believable that the past 5 or 8 years, something like that, Aaron Rodgers calls his own plays during the 2-minute drill. That's awesome. You know what I'm saying? So, bruh, you're in the huddle. The play's not coming in on time. I'm not burning this time out, and I'm not getting a delay a game. Guess what? We're going with this play right here, and I'll let the coach worry about it later when he says, "Oh, why did you call that play? Because you didn't get the play in on time, coach. That's why." You know what I'm saying? And Kevin O'Connell, I'm gonna let you talk. My bad. Kevin O'Connell lost a lot of respect for me, bro, because Kevin O'Connell is the head coach for Minnesota, and on the quarterback, and this is not a spoiler alert, really, but this was on quarterbacks in the documentary. Kirk Cousins calls his own play because the play didn't come in on time against Buffalo, and it ended up being short by 1 yard at the goal line. Kevin O'Connell says, "Oh, why'd you run the play? I was going to call timeout." like, and threw his quarterback under the bus, basically, instead of taking responsibility. Like, yo, why didn't you just call timeout if you were going to call timeout, right? So he tried to pass the buck. And then this year, same thing happens. Kirk Cousins doesn't call a play. They get the delay of game. It's on Kevin O'Connell, no ownership. So now, bro, we have a coach. Remember when that highlight came out and last year when he was like, oh no, that was my fault. I effed up. You remember? Like, so our coach takes responsibility and he holds himself accountable, which is nice, but it still has to get fixed.
I think in defense of that, we obviously spoke about it after, or you spoke about it in your solo Buffalo review podcast in the playoffs, and through 6 weeks we were fine. Like the play calling in Buffalo was loud, but it wasn't an issue. Keith says Chargers game was loud though, wasn't it? And I believe it was quite loud as well. So,
but I think it was loud with Dolphin fans though.
Yeah,
I think it was loud with Dolphin fans.
Actually, I think it might have been a kind of really good Dolphins takeover. But regardless, like through 6 weeks, there's been no issue, and obviously it's still again, shout out to Rob, a little reporter. He says, per Travis Wingfield, shout out to Travis Wingfield, on win doesn't look like we'll be seeing him for weeks. McDaniel says it's not a bump or a bruise, but further testing will provide more clarity. So with no left guard, and if Connor Williams doesn't return this weekend, is it Lester Cotton again at left guard? Or do the Dolphins say, you know what, offensive line issues, we need to go and get help? Like, we are now starting to come down with way too many offensive line issues. We're down to like first string guys. Yes, you can argue that the bye week is in 2 weeks, but do you go and get an offensive lineman, or do you try and get through the Patriots game and the Chiefs game with what we have at the moment?
We couldn't run the ball last night, bro. We couldn't run the ball at all. I would like to think running the ball would have helped. When I seen that we couldn't run the ball, I'm like, yo, Tua's going to have to throw the ball 40 times today. And that's not good. You don't want your quarterback dropping back like that, especially when they're getting home to him. So there's options, bro. What's Connor Williams looking like? Is he close? Because if he comes back, you could just put him at left guard, his natural position, and then you could bring in Alama Uluave at center. Or you could bump Eichenberg over to left guard and let Connor Williams play center. So there's a lot of things. Or you could have Alama be center and put Eichenberg at left guard. There's a lot of things you can do. And this is not a knock on Lester Cotton, because I don't think he's terrible. You know what I'm saying? Like I think we have quality depth. It's just they're not starters. You know what I'm saying? So once you start moving around pieces on the O-line, bro, it can only go so far. It can only take you so far. Bye week is coming up at a really, really good time. We should be able to defeat the Patriots with no problem. Tua's undefeated against Belichick, so we could write that in right now. You know what I'm saying? And then it's the Chiefs game that in Germany. Like, I wonder what happens. I wonder what happens if we're still missing pieces. So then you got a bye week, and then you're good. So I don't know, man. I'm not overly concerned. I'm not really.
So Rob said this is a problem. Robert Ashton said injury bug is biting us again. Rob replies, we got to go and get somebody in, I think. And then Tim Carroll says, not playing the Eagles D line each week. Who are we going to get, and then what happens when guys get back? Can we upgrade, or is it just trying to make do? I think, and I understand it's a loss, it's on prime time, it's annoying. But prior to that, people weren't saying go get offensive linemen. People were going, I think like even yesterday, friend of the podcast, Austin Jackson gave up 1 pressure. Friend of the podcast, Rob Hunt, gave up 0 pressures all game. And most of the issues were coming on the left side, where you basically got your backup left tackle, who's technically your starting left tackle because Tevin Arthur is always injured, and your second or first string left guard. To me,
and a backup center. By the way, that's not a center. So technically, you don't even have a backup center somehow. I don't know how you did that.
Yeah. So I'm not saying it's okay, but it's understandable that playing the Eagles in Philly, one of the best defensive lines in football, and having your backup side of the offensive line give up pressures, it's going to happen. Because, again, the first 6 weeks, people weren't saying, hey, go and get offensive linemen. People were saying, hey, find the money to pay the guys you got in the building because it's great.
Mm-hmm.
Liam Eichenberg didn't have a good game last night, but he was fine against the Panthers. And again, going up against this Eagles defensive line, a lot of guys will struggle. Again, it's not ideal, but again, it's literally like the worst defensive line you can play. I expect us to beat the Patriots, but the Patriots defense kind of turned up against Buffalo. We need to make sure we have what we have, but also you've still got to pay your right tackle, your right guard, your center, your left guard, and probably go and find a left tackle. If you're going to
left guard, you don't have to pay your left guard. Who's the left guard, by the way, that you're talking about?
Isaiah Wynn.
Oh, okay. So it's not Eichenberg.
No, because I think if everyone's healthy, Eichenberg's the backup. So I'm talking about like the starting five we've seen this season. Essentially all of those guys need paying next season. And yep, definitely, Rob, I agree. If one of Cotton, Lamb, or Eichenberg gets injured in the next game or two, then who slots in? I would like to think Alama Uluwave gets called up because it's like, yo, we are down to the bare bones.
I think Robert Jones will come in before Alama Uluwave. If they haven't put Alama Uluwave in that center yet, bruh, they're never gonna do it.
Yeah.
Like, but you know what? Remember when the world was going through a pandemic and COVID? For all of those who live in the States, you know Walmart. I'm sure everyone has heard of Walmart, right? There isn't a Walmart. You said there's like one in London or something like that.
There might be. I definitely know of it, but yeah.
Right. So you ever go to the grocery store, Kadeem, or just like some supermarket or something, and they have like 30 checkout lines? You ever seen that?
No.
How many checkout lines do you have in your stores?
Ooh,
like, what's the most you ever seen in England?
About 20.
All right, 20. That's I thought I just said 20. So look, all right, there's stores that have like 20 checkout lines, 30 checkout lines. And I'm like, yo, how come none of these lines ever open? They're never open, bro. Like, I'm like, you only see like 7 open at a time. Why do you have 20 to 30 checkout lines if none of them are always like they're never going to be open all at the same time? So here it comes COVID in 2020. I'm like, yo, this is the time all the lines are going to be open because it's a pandemic out there and everyone's in the store and it's pandemonium. Let's get all these checkout lines open. You think all the checkout lines are open?
Probably like 1 in 3, so everyone's evenly spaced out.
Like, bro, like I'm like, yo, if we're never gonna open all these checkout lines, why do we have them? So if you're never gonna use Alama Uluwave when you don't even have a backup center, you're never gonna use this dude, bro. So why you even have him? You know what I'm saying? So that's where I'm at with it.
There could be an element of, and I don't remember the running back injuries when friend of the podcast, Miles Gaskin, was sitting in the stands most weeks.
By the way, shout out to friend of the podcast, Miles Gaskin. He's playing for the Rams now. Shout out to him for finding a home. It
could just be a case of like they're going to use it, but just not this season. But it's also like you said, at some point you got to throw him in. Robert Ashton says maybe that's why I'm so reluctant to trade draft capital to make do players in. Need that capital to try and replace someone who will not be able to pay. And while that is true, I also think we are now at the point of the season where teams are looking at going, we're not making the playoffs. We've got some guys, let's trade them away, get some draft capital, look again for next season. And that could just be, Charlie, you've got to move like every 2 seconds because I thought you froze. Like you were just there.
Bro.
I was like,
bro. Hey. I was waiting for the end of the episode to say my internet's strong today, boy. My internet game in there.
So same way the Eagles just found, a fifth, sixth in the safety to send for Kevin Byard. There must be an offensive lineman you can get. There must be someone who, is on a team playing okay, late 20s, early 30s, can come do a job. There has to be. And maybe we see it. Also, because obviously we know coach is talking right now. Mike McDaniel and Jalen Ramsey's potential return. Jalen had a great practice week. Henceforth, he got Scout Team Player of the Week on defense. Not in the business of crystal balls, specifically with guys returning from injuries. We'll take that a day at a time to make sure we don't get ahead of ourselves. When he's ready to go, he can't help himself. He'll let me know. That was per Travis Wingfield on Jalen Ramsey. So, yeah, it's looking like we might be getting Jalen Ramsey back. And again, we'll speak about it more. Actually, yeah, shout out to Travis said the plan is to start working Ramsey into team reps this week. Could be seeing Jalen Ramsey make his Miami Dolphins debut against the Patriots this week.
So from one Jalen to another Jalen, how about Jalen Phillips showing up like in a big way? Like you would like to think Bradley Chubb can get some of this too, but like them boys was pressuring people. Jalen Phillips was a dude yesterday, and from the second Jalen to the last Jalen, which is Jalen Waddle went out the game with a back injury, and the way he looked on the sideline, I'm like, bro, a back injury isn't like a sore, like a contusion in your thigh contusion or something like that. A back injury, bro, I like, yo, dog's about to be out for a minute, a good minute. You know what I'm saying? So when I seen him come back in the same game, I'm like, oh yeah, he took the shot. He took the shot to come back in because I didn't think he was gonna come back. I didn't think he was gonna make it.
Yeah, it's sometimes you got to do what you got to do to get through the game. But yeah, it'll be very interesting to see the plan at offensive line as the week progresses. I guess the best case scenario is that we get Connor Williams back and shift Liam Eichenberg to left guard. But even then, with Connor Williams going, who knows how long he's going to last. And if I'm being brutally honest, I'd much rather hold him out this week to try and make sure he's better for the Chiefs. At the same time, if he can sweep the Bills early, go into the Chiefs game, 6-2?
Sweep the Patriots early, you mean?
Yeah, they've been ready this season.
Yeah, you said sweep the Bills, but it's cool.
Apologies, sorry. I meant to say Patriots. But yeah, it's we'll definitely see. Shout out to Robert says Walmart. No. How the hell did Charlie link Walmart and Dolphins position issues? That's why he's the best host in the game.
Hey man, hey, I'm trying.
And shout out to Keith says well done to 40 acres and a Hellcat.
Hey, let's get into bonus time, man. Y'all give a happy birthday to Kadeem one more time. LL Cool K, Coach K is in the building. You only get one of these a year. Happy birthday, bro. Y'all know what time it is. Stay positive, test negative. For Kadeem Simmons, I'm Charlie Touche. Thank you for tuning in this time. Make sure you catch us next time on Go Time. Already.
Gotta make them lose their mind when it's your time. And it's show time. Going all out when it's go time. I ain't wasting no time. Gotta make them lose their mind when it's show time. Cause it's your time. Lay it on the line when it's go time. Don't waste no time. Gotta make them lose their mind when it's your time. And it's show time. Going all out when it's go time. I ain't wasting no time.
Charlie.
Hey, this is the comment right here. This is the comment right here. Rob said, piece together Walmart and our center issues, but can't math. Wink face.
You're 2-5. You're 2-5.
Hey, I told you the comeback is on the way, boy. I'm not. Yo, I was a little rusty. You know what I'm saying? Slow start like the Bengals.
Dude, you're 2-5. That's not a little rusty. Shout out to Rob. Said it earlier, so we'll get to it in bonus time. Have you guys seen we've been chosen as the in-season Hard Knocks? I, for a fact, have seen it. Oh, Charlie hadn't seen it. Oh, how did you not see this?
That's legit?
That's legit, yeah.
The Dolphins are the in-season Hard Knocks team.
Yes, they are. How have you not seen this?
Yo, because are you for real? When did this break?
About half an hour before we went on the pod, if that.
Okay. Yeah, I thought you was making it seem like this was a week ago. Like, nah, if it was a half an hour ago, I have a real job.
So it was 8:16 UK time. But yeah, if you can see that.
Oh my goodness, bruh. So for those listening, there's you know what Hard Knocks is. Hard Knocks is, preseason. The Jets were on Hard Knocks, and cameras follow you around during the preseason. There's a lot of anticipation. And then there was Amazon had All or Nothing. And All or Nothing was during the season, which was a game changer. Like All or Nothing is during the season, and now you follow this team around during the season, but you don't watch it until the end of the season, and you look back on what the season looked like. Then you have Quarterback, which is all new. This is the first time it's ever happened in Peyton Manning Omaha production, where a quarterback gets followed the entire season, and cameras just infiltrate these dudes' lives, which we appreciate for them to be open like that. And Tua was like, "Yo, I don't know if I'll ever do that, because like I know Robert Ashton said All or Nothing got me all into the NFL, which is my opinion is All or Nothing is the best one. So
Agreed,
anyway,
100%.
it's crazy how good it is. So now HBO does a in-season Hard Knocks, which is parallel to All or Nothing. It tries to be All or Nothing, but it's not All or Nothing. But it's still good. So my thing was, Tua was like, "Yo, I don't know if I'll ever do quarterback, the documentary for quarterback, because this is real invasive, and it takes away from your family time and how I deal with losses, and I already know how I am after a bad game, so I wouldn't want he's not even sure how to deal with it without a camera in his face. So how would he deal with it with a camera in his face?" Is basically in essence what he said. So to know that the Dolphins are the in-season Hard Knocks, bro, that came from the top. That came from, bro, we got a coach, we got Tua, but Stephen Ross was like, "Nah, bro, we gonna make money off of this. We buzzing." You know what I'm saying? This is a big deal.
I think, so Charlie and I say quite often, like, we don't really speak too much outside of the show. And normally, like, breaking news happens, we kind of share it. But I didn't share it with him. One, I assumed he knew. And two, we be back in the podcast. Not sharing it with him and seeing that live reaction is why we do this. Like, you guys were all there for this. Like, so yeah, shout out to Rob for mentioning it. Rob says filming starts after Germany, apparently. The first time the Dolphins have been in Hard Knocks since 2012. Shout out to friend of the podcast, Will Hayes. Anyone who's seen Hard Knocks will know that Hayes is probably one of the most famous players of all time on it. Go check out his clips. About it, like, it's brilliant. But yeah, I know a lot of people are really angry about this, kind of saying the last thing this team needs, when they're making a playoff push, is cameras in their face. Like, you got to be focused. But let's be brutally honest. If you see what like McDaniel's doing in terms of like the breaking down plays midweek, the mic'd up, all that kind of stuff, I'm generally like, let us know why you don't like it, because I've seen people on social media say it, but obviously you're here in the chat. We can have this conversation.
Real quick, breaking news. Friend of the podcast, Javon Holland, just came in, self-reported concussion-like symptoms, and he's in the concussion protocol. So we hope that he was good, and turns out he still came back in and played, but he's just now reported concussion-like symptoms. So he's probably going to miss Patriots game next week. But go ahead, continue. My bad.
Well, no, it's I was just saying to IMAX, yeah, let us know why you don't like it. Yeah, like I was saying, some people just think it's too invasive. The team, it's a distraction, don't need it. Others are like, it's great. We're going to see even more behind the scenes footage. Mike McDaniel's going to be amazing. Get to see more of Tua, all that kind of stuff. So
here's my thing. My bad. Here's my thing.
Oh, yeah.
The NFL always has cameras there anyway. Regardless, there's not a game where the NFL don't have a camera there in the locker room. So they're still there. My thing is, it's crazy that we're talking about it. I just watched the week 5 mic'd up from Coach McDaniel. If y'all haven't seen the Coach McDaniel mic'd up, it is a treat, bro. Like, even if he wasn't your coach, you can appreciate this authentic person being a head coach of an NFL team. You know what I'm saying? This dude is just hilarious, bro. He's so authentic, and I love it. So the fact that we're getting some behind the scenes, man, I'm all in on it, bro. Like I can't get enough of the Dolphins. I can't get enough of my quarterback, my coach, and I like it, man. And Tannehill was on the old Hard Knocks, and that was kind of why I wasn't really feeling Tannehill. He didn't even know what teams were in the divisions. I didn't appreciate that, bro. Like, how you not know what teams are in what divisions?
You say that, but we did say next player we get in the podcast, we're asking them that question. Can you name all the teams in the division? Because it's going to make amazing content. And yeah. So IMAX says too many distractions. We need to stay focused. He asked, what's the word on Win? Win is out for a few weeks. It's not a bruise, not a knock, it's weak. So I guess Lester Cotton at left guard or Liam Eichenberg if Connor Williams returns. Robert Ashton says it's all going to depend on how they cut up for TV in terms of obviously the Hard Knock stuff. And then Rob says not Fins related, but for in-season docuseries you need to watch Sunderland Till I Die, Charlie, about Sunderland. Yeah,
I heard about that. Kadeem tried to put me onto it, and I was actually interested. You did mention it, Kadeem.
Yeah, I mentioned it because Rob is a Sunderland fan, but I've never seen it, so I can't put
I didn't say you seen it. I thought you told me to watch it.
No, because again, I've never seen it.
I believe there was another dude from the UK, one of the guests, and it was you and him, and y'all allow you got to watch it.
Oh, that might have been.
See?
Oh no, it was the guy from Wales who's a Wrexham fan. Oh snap! And we can't pronounce.
No, it was how you gonna have one of our guests and call him the guy from Wales?
Because that's how
I'll never do that to one of our guests, bro. That's messed up, bro.
Apologies. Owain. And I didn't even check. I literally got to this page on my Twitter. You can see Josh Kasker. Shout out Josh Kasker. Tom Valentine might be on this week. We'll let you know. Robert Ashton said, I told you to watch Welcome to Wrexham. And I think Owain said it as well. But yeah, I heard Sunderland Till I Die is amazing. I've just never seen it, so yeah.
Yeah, man, that's all I got, bro. But I can't wait to watch in-season Hard Knocks. The Cardinals were on in-season Hard Knocks last year, and now it's the Dolphins this year. Can't wait.
Get those wins. But yep, once again, I haven't said it all episode, but thanks for all the birthday messages. If you haven't already, drop a like on the video, subscribe to the channel, subscribe and follow us on TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, X, MySpace, all the wonderful stuff. And if you're feeling generous, go join us over on Patreon, patreon.com/Go Time Dolphins. And very quickly, Rob is right. Hard Knocks brings in fresh reporters to the team. Got to go at Fins Nation. But the two-way train has fully left their boarding. Let's try and jump on that. So we'll see you on the next one. Peace.